Hi friends, hosts Rachel and Eric here, celebrating the arrival of the Omicron variant with a really well-deserved thank you, heroes. I want to thank all the heroes out there. There's a lot of heroes that are constantly saving lives, and I want to thank them. And in fact, I want to start today's live stream with Rachel and I were discussing in the car the other day our top 3 heroes. We're going to start with hero number 3. These brave heroes risk their lives day in and day out on the front lines. You can hear them right now. You can hear the sirens celebrating the heroism. Anyhow, these brave heroes risk their lives on the front line every day to make sure we can get our egg McMuffins, we can get our Big Macs, we can get our fries, we can get our Cokes. That's right. Thank you, heroic McDonald's drive-thru workers who were there for us when everybody else was locked down and those lucky small business owners got to sit at home safely. You, noble and heroic McDonald's drive-thru worker, were there on the front lines making sure that no matter how bad things got, we could still get Big Macs. So Rachel and I together both just want to offer our most heartfelt thank you to you and your heroic sacrifice that you made to save lives while risking your own by being out there working at McDonald's during the outbreak, you know.
Yes. Not many people would really risk themselves being in such close contact with.
That's courage.
Yeah.
You know, that is real courage. Okay, now let's talk about number 2 on our list of top 3 heroes. And that is liquor store worker. Liquor store worker, thank you. Thank you for your heroic sacrifice that you made going to work while all of us non-essential people got to safely stay home. It was except for, of course, going out to buy cigarettes and stuff. It was only thanks to you, brave and heroic liquor store worker, that I didn't have to buy my cigarettes at the gas station. And who wants to do that? So I want to thank the McDonald's drive-thru workers. They are heroes beyond all reckoning. It's like, you know, McDonald's drive-thru workers, liquor store workers, Navy SEALs. It's like that. Okay? Now, our top slot for most heroic heroes during these horrible outbreaks of pandemic that we've been suffering, which require us to prioritize safety over everything else no matter what. Who was heroically out there entertaining us with their back and forth, their pow and their pyas? Why, it's the professional tennis players. Yes, professional tennis players were out there heroically resuming tennis before any of the other major sports were doing so, risking their lives on the front line to do their essential work of playing tennis. Well, non-essential people like small business owners and restaurant owners got to safely stay home and suffer no consequences because of their non-essentiality. Thank God professional tennis players were being essential and being heroes and out there risking their lives on the frontline tennis courts across the world. You know, I don't know if you guys knew it. Not only were they risking their lives there, they weren't even wearing masks.
That is pretty risky.
Emailed Anthrax, the answer is never. Oh, hi Octavia Silva. You finished the first draft of your paper about me? Great. Fantastic.
That's exciting.
It sounds like you had... I don't want to debate him, emailed Anthrax. Why would I want to debate an idiot? It's like, hey, you want to play tennis with this aardvark? No.
Hi, precious tranquility.
Do you want to play chess with this monkey? No. Do you want to debate C.S. Joseph? No. Do you want us to go scuba diving with this eagle? No. Do you want to save lives by being unsafe? No.
No.
You got to be safe all the time, constantly saving lives. That's why I'm here to thank the heroes out there Our top 3 heroes, your McDonald's drive-thru workers, your liquor store workers, and of course, your professional tennis players. I also want to make a special note, special thanks to those heroic basketball coaches who, even though it did absolutely no good whatsoever, remembered to make at least a show of pretending to wear a mask so that we would all get the right message. You know, I want to thank them as well. These are your professional basketball coaches. Now listen, Bob, I need you to get right up there one-on-one with this guy, okay? Joe, I need you to get right up there one-on-one with him too, okay? Bob, grab those rebounds. That show of mask wearing is hugely important. It helps us all learn that even if it doesn't make a goddamn bit of difference, we have to pretend to wear a mask, okay? So it's like, in that instance, since you're constantly taking it off of your face and screaming in your players' faces, chances are it doesn't do any good at all, right? But we wouldn't want to send the wrong message to the non-essential people out there. The thing is, of course, basketball coaches are essential. They are absolutely essential, as are basketball players, unlike restaurants. And the other thing I want to make very clear on is this. It's fine to sit next to each other in a crowded stadium without masks on, but we still need to wear masks when traveling from the entrance of a restaurant to the table, okay? That's important, because that's where COVID mostly spreads, is right in those areas. Between the salad bar and the bathroom, COVID hangs out right there.
Hi, Boba Fett.
Hi, Boba Fett. Hi, Jonathan Basanti. I think Dulles' comment is amusing. Dulles says, getting real tired of Jeff Shaw for shitting on people while pretending to be a nice guy. That is a great summation of him. That's what he is and what he does. He shits on people while pretending to be a nice guy.
That's a great description.
That's his shtick.
That is his shtick.
Wait a minute, says Dulles. I used to work at a gas station that sold cigarettes. You feel like you've been slighted for the liquor store guy.
Oh.
Well, the point is, I mean, the thing is, if you bought liquor, then of course it makes even more sense for a liquor store guy to be a hero. I'm not a liquor consumer. I don't consume any alcohol, so... But, you know, also, where would I get my non-alcoholic beer? Which is obviously essential. Would I have to get to the supermarket? They don't have necessarily the brand I want. It's essential. It's absolutely critical that I get the weed I want when I want. I get cigarettes. And if I wanted to get alcohol, that I get the exact kind of alcohol I want, or non-alcoholic beer, I want to get the exact kind I want. That's why liquor stores were essential, and weed stores were essential, but restaurants weren't essential. Because you can get your food at home. Supermarkets are essential because you have to get stuff there. But, you know, clothing stores aren't essential because you already have clothing. Duh. Well, that's why clothing stores aren't essential. I mean, you might say, well, you don't really need liquor and cigarettes, Eric. I'd say, oh, yes, I do, mister. Those are essential. And so is weed. But I just want to, the key point here is, thank you, heroes.
Thank you, heroes.
Every day I go out and I see people doing the important work they have to do out in the world, knowing that by leaving their house, they are risking their lives and millions of other lives. No matter how vaccinated they are, no matter how many masks they wear, it's not enough. We need to all walk around in biohazard suits as a testimony to the heroic heroism of our beautiful, wonderful heroes. Heroes, 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 heroes. C.S. Joseph will run in terror as soon as I get anywhere close to within his eyesight. There is zero chance that C.S. Joseph is willing to meaningfully engage me about anything. He knows he's wrong. He knows I'll whip him up around the back 50 times over, and he's got no chance of hanging. So why would he possibly engage? As he said it himself many times before to people who've asked him to debate me, quote unquote, it would be a waste of his time. It'd be worse than that. it would be a conversion of his time into negative consequences for him. And given that he doesn't care about the truth or what's right at all, why would he possibly ever want to debate me? Ben Shapiro about feminism. Ben Shapiro about feminism. Is he not a feminist or what? Does he not like boobs? Being a feminist means you like boobs, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Mm-hmm. I like boobs.
That makes
I'm a
you
feminist.
a feminist.
Yeah. Smother mother feminist tyrants. I've never met any of these people. People talk about this happening, but I have never met such a person before. I've never met a so-called feminist tyrant. And so, given that they're pretty rare, how much power can they really have, these so-called feminist tyrants? But that doesn't mean I don't like boobs, okay? If you say that she's a feminist tyrant, she must have just enormous boobs, I guess. Right?
Yes.
Everybody likes boobs. Nobody doesn't like boobs. So that makes us all feminists. That's right.
That settles that.
Yeah. I consider myself a feminist.
I think you are.
The Smother Mothers. The Safety Patrol. You know, I want to go out, I want to hand out pamphlets about how to be safe, such as never ever engage biologically with another human being at all. Always wear a biohazard suit. And if you ask me, I think we should have a moratorium on pregnancies and births until we solve this COVID thing, because what we're doing is literally creating new disease vectors with every birth. I mean, it's not safe. We need to save lives. Constantly save millions and millions of lives. It's the only thing that matters.
It's the only thing that matters.
Every new child that's born will get somebody else sick at some point in their life. It's almost guaranteed. So we need to prevent further childbearing. No more children. They're just walking disease vectors. They're biohazards. Human children are biohazards. Well, Boba Fett, I'm glad you're on the same page as I am here. So, no more breeding, people. Breeding time is over. We're done with that.
So we're all feminists and no babies?
No more babies. Babies are outlawed from this point forward. It's just a way to get people sick. It's just a way to put people at risk. Doctors have to be... The mother might have problems, complications during childbirth. The doctor might slip and fall on a puddle of blood in the hospital. The nurse might faint at the sight of this strange creature emerging from a woman's body, like from Alien.
Those are like 3 or 4 reasons right there.
No, Legends Fall, blowing up the planet obviously is not saving lives, it's ending lives. In order to save lives, we need to prevent life, not end it. Okay?
Prevent.
The only surefire way long term to save all the lives is to prevent any new ones from occurring. So that means mandatory no kid making from now on. I mean, first of all, as I've already indicated before, single people should not be having sex until HIV and all sexually transmitted diseases are completely cured. Because otherwise, it's just, they need to prove first that they both are free from all diseases and it's impossible for them to get all diseases before we can allow them to have sexual intercourse. So, the new laws are as follows. No single people who aren't in monogamous relationships already can have sexual intercourse. That's reserved for people like Rachel and I who have been together for a long time and we know that there's not going to be any sexuality leaving this pairing, okay? And also, we are required now to make sure that Rachel doesn't get pregnant because if she were to get pregnant, she'd just be, like I said, it's like making an 8-pound biohazard. It's like two people sit at home and make themselves an 8-pound biohazard that comes out of the woman's vagina. It's all sorts of risks of lives being lost. And
Right.
fortunately, there are heroes out there, heroes like me, who are protecting all of us from putting ourselves at risk. We're getting rid of cars, we're getting rid of sex, we're getting rid of babies, we're getting rid of leaving your house. And, we're going to make sure that everybody, when they do have to leave their house, is fully clad in a cumbersome biohazard suit. A little discomfort is a small price to pay for safety.
Safety first, guys.
Hey, good job, Dubai. Dubai just decriminalized alcohol and premarital sex. How do you criminalize premarital sex? I mean, like, can you imagine a court case? How do you prove beyond a reasonable doubt two people had sex? I guess if a child is born of the two, you can genetically prove that. But
That's a lot of money.
if that doesn't happen, how do you prove they had sex? I mean, presumably they're the only two people present. The UAE should stand for the United Arab Eats Ass Emirates. You know why? Because that country's lame. Dubai's like a nightmare. Yeah, it's like a nightmare of semi-slavery from foreign workers and stupid pipe dream oil money nonsense, like created man-made islands that are sinking into the sea, and it's just, it's insane. Dubai is not a well thought out, well constructed, well designed, well realized vision at all. There's no reason to build skyscrapers when you've got all the fucking land you could possibly build on. Why build a bunch of skyscrapers? Yeah, you got a bunch of indentured servants who are abused, mistreated, and have limited rights. You got typical, Islamic law shit going on. It's horrible. Dubai is a glimmering shithole, is what it is. To put it simply, a glimmering shithole. There, I've done away with the United Arab Emirates. Who's next?
Well, I feel like now you're one of my heroes for saying all of that.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so it's not Western corruption. The Western school of thought is the post-Enlightenment school of thought, which affords everybody equal rights. To the extent that the West has not upheld those principles, that's to their that's to their just condemnation. But it's not to the condemnation of the principles themselves or the Western way of thinking. It's like, obviously, individualism, individual rights, and the equality of each individual human being to every other individual human being creates a just society. And you can see that injustice, how it plays out, just by watching K-dramas. Rachel and I are watching a good one right now. It's called Run For It, I think.
Yes.
And part of the storyline is how people with more status abuse people with less status in Korea, and it's true in Japan as well. It's true throughout Asia, I think, which is very status heavy and very FE, And of course, that's bullshit. The person who's wrong should be held to account. Not the person with more status gets to hold the person with less status to account, and not vice versa. There needs to be reciprocal burdens. It's a basic TI value. The West is the bastion of TI values. Whether it consistently upholds them or not, that's where they come from. That's the school of thought that represents Western post-Enlightenment thinking. If you want to meet Danny Glover, you got to meet Mel Gibson. That were the original lyrics of that Spice Girls.
Wow.
Yeah. Excuse my coughing. Skyscraper is a sign of the end times in Islamic ideology. Really? Muhammad said, okay, so let's see. Things signifying the end times. We got fire from the heavens. We got plagues. We got taller than usual buildings. We got war. We got plagues, famine. Wait. What did you say there? Taller than usual buildings? That seems oddly mixed in with these other symbols of the apocalypse, Muhammad. Are you sure about that one? Yeah, I'm just getting the vision. They're like 3 stories, maybe even. I don't know. 3 or 4 stories tall, maybe even taller than that. Oh. They can arbitrarily jail and deport. They can, on a whim, test you for drug consumption and everyone you know. Yeah, it's terrible.
That is terrible.
Terrible place. You know, it's like, that's what happens when you get communitarianism winning. When communitarianism wins, which is to say, the idea that the group is more important than the individual. The sustaining group status relationships and stuff should be prioritized over individual rights and the freedom of each person to express themselves and have freedom of conscience and stuff, right? Whenever communitarianism wins, then you have an awful place. As maximally realized in North Korea, where it's the most communitarian society of all, and it's the absolute shittiest. Now, that doesn't mean communitarianism always expresses such that the awfulness is visible. And it does have some benefits. Japan's extremely communitarian in its basic framework, but its legal framework is fundamentally American, because we set it up after World War II. And it's saved their fucking asses, you know? From slipping back into imperial banzai fucking insanity that they had before, you know? So, yeah, communitarianism is bad. Prioritizing purported group goods is always just a lie, in which some individual is advocating for their pet thing and positioning it as having net benefits, even though they can't articulate really all of the benefits or anything of the sort. Both Islam and Christianity predicted the Mongol invasion of Islamic hadiths, made very accurate claims about what happened before it happened around 1400 AC. Okay, well that's just silly nonsense. Of course, if you cherry pick a bunch of mystics who say a bunch of random shit, and you interpret metaphors as you feel like, you can make those kind of stupid ass claims. But make no mistake about it, Clashing Games. Those are stupid ass fucking claims. Let's just make no mistake about it. I'm not going to pull any punches here. That's fucking moronic. Sorry, it just is. It's obviously moronic. People don't prophesy. It's like the whole idea of prophecy, right? Why can't you successfully tell the future? People can predict the future and be right. But why can't you see the future? Very simple reason. It hasn't happened yet, shit for brains. You can't see something that hasn't happened yet. Doy. I mean, this is so obvious. It's like, that's why you can't travel into the future. Even if you believe in time travel, you'd only be able to travel backwards. Get it? There's no such thing as seeing the future, or of realizing words that convey immortal and immutable truths. Words don't work like that, and the future doesn't work like that, and anyone who tells you otherwise has nothing but turds inside of their skull.
BRB, I'm gonna give Kitty some kisses.
Who's the real prophet? Me. Why? Because I'm speaking a bunch of true things. That's why. Yep, that's me. Prophet. Prophet. Not because I'm prophesizing shit, not because I'm telling you what's going to happen in the future. I'm doing much better. If prophet's a good thing, I'm much better than that. Because instead of bullshitting you, I'm telling you the truth. It's not as comfortable, maybe, for people who just want to follow instructions. My truths require other people to think too. Pew, pew, pew! Pew, pew! Eric's pewing today, huh? Feeling a little pewy, I guess. I'm gonna go get a non-alcoholic beer from the refrigerator.
Cool. Yo, chasing games. Eric's one of our heroes. He's an essential worker during COVID. Still is. Skyscrapers is a sign of the end of times.
You know, Rachel, I think it may be the case, actually, that we have to go to the weed store tonight.
Okay.
Because I don't really like being out of weed that much.
Alright, then let's not do that. Let's go. Let's get some.
We will. We'll go and not a super long time. After I'm done abusing our beloved viewers
thing.
some more. I'm not censoring anything. YouTube censors all kinds of stuff on its own, independently of me. But I'm not censoring shit. The thing is, I might remove your comment. Look, here's the thing. Regarding censorship by me, there's 3 kinds. One is, I removed your comment even though I think there's nothing wrong with you saying it, and I support your right to say it, but I remove it anyway because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. That's one kind of censorship that occurs. Censorship 2. No, we're not ending the stream right now. We'll go in a little bit, in a while. Censorship kind of 2. You say something dumb that annoys me, and I time you out. Usually it's mindless provocation, right? Or a refusal to engage with what I'm saying meaningfully, but simply shifting ground from provocation to provocation. That'll get you timed out. Because then you're not contributing to the conversation, you're just being a dick. And then the third kind is, if you attack, well, like, if you attack Rachel, I'll probably hide you, which is the equivalent of banning. Certain things will get me to hide you. If you come in and you're like, if you're spamming or something, like sometimes you get this XXX online girls thing that pops up in the chat. It's like a bot that spams chats of live streams, and I'll obviously hide that. You consume substance in a Dubai nightclub? That's risky.
That does sound risky.
Yeah. I've told Rachel before, just the other day, I said, I could conceivably move to another country someday, but it would have to be a country that weed was legal. It's like watching. You wish I could calm down. Do I seem not calm? I mean, just because I battered pow 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 what you said doesn't mean I'm not calm. In other words, just because your wrongness got badly beaten up doesn't mean I used a lot of force, right? It's just your wrongness was really weak and fragile. So it looks more noisy when it crashes into a million pieces on the floor, necessarily. Because, it's like there's this don't bring that super weak shit up in here quality that's necessarily going to follow when you do bring that super weak shit up in here. So please don't mistake your wrongness for something about my emotions. Please never make that mistake. That would be foolhardy, right? My emotions have nothing to do with your wrongness. I mean, you might say the scope of your wrongness links loosely to the style of my negation, that's true. Like if your wrongness is of a larger scope, I might style my negation in a more dismissive and condescending fashion. But again, remember, my emotions have nothing to do with your wrongness. I mean, the problem with sex work is you're the worst debated I have seen online. You're either an incredibly poor judge of debate quality, or you've watched only me. Those are the two possibilities then. I mean, I am actually a professional debate coach. I did competition flow debate in college, in high school, and I qualified for the state tournament, although my team didn't go. So I had a good chance, or a decent chance anyway, being competing for state champion. I think we probably would have done well. I have had multiple national champion debaters underneath me as a debate coach. So there's a lot of ancillary kind of heuristics you can use to validate my legitimacy as a coach and as a debater. But beyond that, I gave you lots of concrete reasons why what you were saying is bullshit. And you'll note that you didn't respond to any of them at all. You just said I was a shitty debater. So if anything you had to say was of any value at all, frankly, you would have at least said some sort of response to one of my warrants. For example, I pointed out that you can't prophesize the future because it hasn't happened yet, right? You might have responded to that in some way. You might have said, Eric, you said you can't prophesize the future because it hasn't happened yet. But how do you know it hasn't happened yet? I mean, just because you can't observe it having happened doesn't mean it hasn't happened. You could have said that, right? That would have given me some indication that I should respect your words somewhat, because you would have responded on point, right? But then you're not evaluating my debate skills, are you, Clashing Games? You're saying I don't like you and the way you emote at me when I'm wrong. That's what you're saying. I don't like you, Eric, when you emote at me when I'm wrong. Don't position it as something else. Don't pretend it's about my debate skills. It has nothing to do with that. You don't like me when I emote condescendingly at you when you're wrong. Say that. Don't lie, right? Right, I'm not even debating anything right now. I was just explaining to you why you were wrong. To debate, and this is the other thing. People think that people in disagreement with each other are debating all the time, right? That's not debate. Debate is there's a specific resolution, claim, statement, advocacy, or something that one side is clearly affirming and the other side is negating. They each have turns to ask each other questions. They each both make a case and a rebuttal case, right? That's debating. Well, what I'm doing is just explaining to you why you're wrong and it's annoying. That's it. This is not a debate. You don't qualify as somebody who could ever debate with me because I'm still at the stage where I'm correcting you for basic wrongnesses. And yes, I get it. You don't like how condescending this is. You don't like me when I talk like this to you. But don't mistake that for something else, right? Here, can you toss that to me? I stink to high heaven. I'm not agitated. I'm expressive, as I always am. I'm an expressive guy. I'm expressively happy. I'm expressively, fish shaky. I'm just expressive. That's probably why you're here, in part, is because I'm an expressive guy. You don't like that it's directed to you right now, so say that. Say, please stop talking to me right now. Don't say, please calm down. I will not respect your instructions regarding my emotions. I will not concede that I'm not calm in the first place. Nor will I, even if I were not calm, agree to follow your instructions regarding my emotions. And I'd thirdly point out, why are you telling me what to do with my emotions? You know? And so when I insult you, that's why. That's why I insult you, because you're saying stupid ass shit. Sorry. Let's see. Whether or not decriminalization or legality is better for sex work is an interesting question. The thing about decriminalizing is that the problem with sex work historically has been this middleman called the pimp. That if you do it in a gray market way, then you're having women put themselves in a very precarious situation, customer after customer, potentially. Even if most of them turn out just fine, it's like, under what, like, it's not like prostitutes don't get abused. They do, right? So there's an argument in favor of a legal marketplace with it's regulated that I think has some legs to it. When you have a gray market situation, you end up with shady pimps and abused women, if you ask me. And also you end up with sex trafficking and stuff like that. When you have a black market or a gray market, you're going to end up with those things. With a white market, you could potentially prevent those things from occurring. So there are good arguments in favor of legality over criminalization for sex workers. And that's what I have to say about that. Again, not a very strong position, but accordingly the correct position. Well, Clashing Games, I mean, you just a second ago said I'm an ESFJ. Like, what would make you say that? Do you actually believe that? I doubt it. That's the sort of shit that gets people timed out, right? Because in this instance, you're clearly just attacking me. You're trying to attack me. No sane person would ever claim that I'm an ESFJ. If I were an ESFJ, I wouldn't be nearly so TI robust. I've taught logic, conditional logic. Okay? I wrote a book on critical thinking and taught it. I wrote a book on the logic of English grammar with sentence diagramming, and I've taught it. I was always better at debate coach than I was a speech coach. I hired an ESFJ as a speech coach to work underneath me because he was better at the line coaching and stuff, the FE stuff, than I was. Even though I'm not a bad speech coach. I'm a pretty good actor. I'm pretty good at being expressive in various ways. That's true. Makes sense for an ENTP. Common to an ENTP. What's absolutely not common between an ENTP and an ESFJ is a sort of philosophy focus, good logic. And the thing is, this isn't just me saying this. This isn't just me stating here on YouTube that I'm logically robust. Remember, I was hired to teach logic to high school students. Conditional logic. And, I mean, I wasn't hired for that purpose, but as a teacher there, I didn't know conditional logic when I began to teach it. So I taught it to myself real quick. That's not an ESFJ. An ESFJ doesn't make a variety of different videos ranging from wildly extrovertedly intuitive music to comedy to philosophy to psychology to logic to grammar to debate to all of these other things concurrently on one channel. They've got a little bit more FE sense than that, right? So you are not being an honest person. You're being dishonest, and that's why you got timed out. And it's important for people to understand that there are good reasons when I time people out. Dishonesty is a sin. It's not just, you're not just being fucking wrong, you're being dishonest. And that's sinful. You shouldn't be dishonest. It's bad. You don't believe I'm an ESFJ. If you do, you genuinely have nothing but a turd inside of your skull. Yes, they are my activity partners. So, if you don't want to get your bullshit shoved back in your mouth, don't say it out loud and around me. It's that simple. And when you do, don't try to fight back. Go, oh, my bad. you're just going to get more of your bullshit shoved in your mouth. Josh G says, I was surrounded by ESFJs growing up, and whoever says Eric is one of them is full of shit. He's nothing like any of them. That's true. So it's like, it's funny the way that when people do try to make that, it's a common thing that people do when they want to try to attack me, is they think, okay, well, I'll call into question his type. But it's just about impossible to call Mike type into question. I'm so textbook in ENTP that anybody who tries to make the argument that I'm something else desperately runs afoul of any number of contradictions right away. So I always know that it's just an attack. It's so totally unjustified by reality that it's just an attack. All of these bottles of weed are empty. How sad for us. I haven't gotten my new bottle yet of Adderall. I called it in on Monday, but they had to order it because they're out of it. Because everybody loves it, I guess. Funny thing is, I don't know if I told you this, but on the dark web, Adderall is a lot more expensive than meth. Isn't that funny? Apparently you can get meth super cheap on the dark web. And it's just like super high potency, fucking, even worse than back when I used to do it decades ago. I can't imagine. But yeah, Adderall pills are apparently quite expensive on the dark web. I've never purchased them myself, but I know somebody who does, who gets things from there. And yeah, apparently one of the more kind of overpriced things is Adderall. Yes, I have had modafinil before, and it's something you can order here. You're not supposed to technically. It's but it's like schedule whatever. Like even if they bust you, it's not even a bust hardly. It's just barely scheduled. My mannerisms align with your shadow. You walked outside and saw there's going to be 6 more months of COVID. Well, I really like the new variant name, Omicron. It sounds scary, right? It reminds us to thank our heroes for constantly saving our lives. That's very important. I mean, I don't do those kind of drugs, like fentanyl and stuff. Those are like opioids, I guess. Those always make me feel pukey, so I've never gotten into those at all. Like, I can't take Vicodin, it makes me want to puke. I can't take... one time I had a bad cough. My dad gave me this old bottle of codeine cough syrup he had. And I drank the whole thing, and I was... For like a couple of hours, I was feeling great. But then the hangover from that, or whatever you want to call it, was so awful that why would calling me an ESFJ be an attack? Because they're patently untrue. It's so totally unjustified by anything in reality. If you know anything about cognitive functions, I'm obviously an ENTP. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's a boring topic. You're about to get yourself hid, clashing games. I don't ever have to worry about you again. You have to come back to somebody else, I guess. Call yourself Cloud or something. Anyway, every time I've done any of those kind of codeines, Vicodins or whatever, they make me feel really sick. So I've never gotten interested in those. Fentanyl is normally, as far as I know, taken by pill, right?
I don't know.
Some people can inject it, I guess, but I've never done it, so I don't know. I keep seeing ads pushed on Facebook that offer a quick online consultation and offer a monthly subscription for an ADD medication without an in-person clinical visit. That's made possible by COVID. That was made possible by COVID.
Wow.
This started happening with COVID, and so now that's how my friend got it. Yeah, now it's a lot easier to get prescribed Adderall because of COVID. Thank God. Thank you, heroes. Finally, the heroes do something worthwhile, right? They make it easier to get prescription drugs.
Look at that. Thank you, COVID.
Thanks, COVID. So the real heroes out there are the people who realize, hey, we can exploit this to help people who want party drugs get their drugs more easily.
Yeah.
Those are the real heroes.
Those are the real heroes.
This online consultation thing, whoever made that, that's a real hero. I want to thank him. Thank you, hero.
Thank you, hero, for creating something that...
Something
people,
good.
Yeah. And people would respond to. Like a quiz.
Being in Arizona is great because we used to cross the border to get meds, same quality, way cheaper. Where? Here? Or in Nevada? Or... Oh, you mean you used to cross into Arizona to get? They're cheaper in Arizona. Rachel and I noticed this. You went with me to Arizona, didn't you?
No.
Oh, that was by myself. I noticed it by myself. Arizona is a lot cheaper than California. Everything's cheaper in Arizona. Gas is cheaper. Food is cheaper. Everything is cheaper in Arizona. We should all pay for healthcare. Okay, why don't you pay for it first, person who's saying that? You pay for it first before you tell everybody else they should pay for it. How about that? I pay for my own healthcare. I pay out of pocket. We hire a doctor, a good doctor who solves our problem. I paid for him out of pocket. I negotiated the amount we were going to pay for it with him, and then we paid him. When my mom needed, because the HMO, the health management organization that my parents are part of, Kaiser, when Kaiser kept fucking around, unsuccessfully giving my dad what he needed, which was a second document saying my mom had dementia from a second doctor in order to deal with the legal matters of power of attorney, we ended up having to hire Rachel's doctor to diagnose my mom because the HMO just never got around to it, no matter how much my dad called them and talked to them and whatever, right? So we pay out of pocket for that too. When we get our medication, we pay out of pocket. Rachel's gonna get the expensive one tomorrow, which is like a couple $100, you know? My medication, for some reason that I do not know, it used to be $100 a month, but sometimes it was $60 a month. Why? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, it started being $36 a month, and you're welcome to be here, Clashing Games. Just don't shit on me. Just don't shit on me because you're mad and try to pretend it's about my emotions. That pisses me off. It's about your emotions. You're mad because I talked to you very rudely and condescendingly. That's understandable. If you were to say that to me, if you were to say, Eric, you hurt my feelings by being so condescending and rude to me, you would have gotten a totally different reaction. Instead, you lied to me. Because I know I've got bad FE and I'm rude and sometimes I hurt people's feelings and I always feel bad when people tell me that. You know, it's like, dude, I didn't deserve that. You hurt my feelings. And then I'd be fretting about it all fucking night. Instead, you said it's about me being mad, which is patently untrue. So that's not going to go anywhere, right? All right. If you accuse me of being rude, I'll go, oh shit, I'm sorry, I was rude. If you accuse me of being mad, that's the wrong way to go. My being mad is not relevant to anything, and I'm not mad. I'm in a perfectly happy mood. I might express angry sounds sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm mad. Nicola Haristov, thank you for bringing us back to our core message here.
Yes.
Thank you, frontline heroes.
Thank you, frontline heroes.
For being out there, risking your lives, giving us McDonald's and stuff, and being there so we can buy cigarettes and weed and stuff, while us non-essential people get to safely stay home.
Yes.
With this Omicron variant coming out, I'm saying let's do full lockdowns again, and we just have the essential people out there doing your McDonald's employees, your professional tennis players, and your liquor store and weed shop owners. Those are your 4 main essentials. As long as you have those, everybody else is non-essential, basically. We can get rid of everybody else. They don't need to go to work. They can just relax at home with no consequences. After all, they don't need to earn a living or anything. Uh-oh, Rachel, what did you do?
I really want to
What
see.
did you do? Rachel put something on Kitty's spot. Did you
Not
put
on
that there?
purpose.
No, not on purpose.
No, not on purpose.
Would you like me to move this? How about this? I think you're gonna like this. Oh,
And it was just washed, so it smells so nice for you.
there you go, baby. That's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
You're gonna like that spot so much now. Kitty was going over to her spot there, and I think Rachel had put it up on the arm of the chair and it had fallen down probably. But there was a rolled up towel on Kitty's spot over there. See that little white square? Well, that towel used to be rolled up until I went over there and unrolled it right now. She walked up to it and she looked at her spot, and then she looked over at me and Rachel. She looked at her spot and she's like, basically said like, what the fuck? What are you guys doing? So
It wasn't on purpose.
yeah, I think you must have been on top of that gray thing there and probably fell off.
Probably.
So the Omnicrons. The Omnicrons is a good name for a rock band, I think.
Ooh, that is.
As long as they are safe and never meet in person and actually play together. Because that would be too dangerous. Way too dangerous.
That's a lot of energy.
Okay, first of all, can we stop measuring weed in metric, please? Unlike cocaine, weed should be measured in ounces and pounds, not in kilos. Only cocaine should be measured in kilos. Everybody knows this.
I just learned something.
You did. You just learned this. Good. Now everybody knows. Before this moment, Rachel didn't know, but now everybody knows. Rachel was the only person who didn't know prior to this moment. But yeah, you buy a pound of weed because kilos are for Europeans. Never has a truer statement been said. Kilos are for Europeans. And if that doesn't tell you all you need to know right there, you know you don't want anything to do with it.
Wow, I have all the information I need to know.
You know what else is for Europeans? Tea instead of coffee.
Yes.
Now, if you think tea is better than coffee, then go ahead and use kilos. Go ahead. But you're wrong on both counts, okay? Because coffee is better than tea, and pounds are better than kilos. You get more in a pound than you do in a kilo. You know, why choose this smaller amount?
I really like that we put a makeshift bed for her.
Oh, Kitty. Kitty decided it was acceptable.
Yeah.
As you can see, Kitty decided that her spot with a blanket on top of it, a towel on top of it, was acceptable. And she sat on it. Good for you, Kitty.
Yeah.
Good for you. What are we at? We're almost at an hour. I said, even though we have to go to the weed store, We have to put in at least 1 hour of live streaming. Otherwise, it doesn't really count as a full stream, you know?
Yes.
Well, that's true. Hey. I don't like it when people say true things that screw me up. Like this. Regardless of what you call bigger amounts, it's still measured in grams. Hey, shh! Peter and Tichi, you shush that mouth right now. I don't want to hear anything that disagrees with what I'm saying about the metric system. Coffee is Arabian and metric system is better? Well, I didn't say coffee was American. I just said tea was European. Okay? So, technicality. Alright, now let's see what else is going on here in, in this ridiculous live stream. Is it Omicron or is it moronic? It's a anagram that you did not discover yourself. ADD, ketamine, psilocybin advocating heroes. Those people truly are heroes. Now, I personally don't want any ketamine, but I respect people who do want it to have their ketamine that they want. But I don't think it's a good drug. I wouldn't recommend it. It is to drugs as Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings is to film. C-, not an F.
Yeah, because, like, you know, I definitely think that Aquaman, even though it's not a Marvel movie...
Aquaman was a D-.
D-, yeah. So, it wasn't as bad as... But C-.
Look, he may be Chinese. But that's why Chinese people drink tea. Understandable, right? European people, they didn't invent tea, they didn't invent coffee. So they get to choose whichever one's better. And they foolishly choose tea. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you don't want that. You don't want that European wrongness vibe in you. The European wrongness vibe is full of hey, let's bring in all these refugees and teach them metric and, you know, force them to buy kilos of weed.
It doesn't sound fair.
It's a bunch of nonsense, right? It's all about like, well, if you're an apple in the EU, you've got to weigh this much and be this red and this have this long of a stem. It's all about unnecessary regulation. Europe loves that. Europe loves to unnecessarily regulate shit, you know? Let's regulate the shit out of everything. Including even changing the good, honest pound into the dishonest kilo. Kilos have a shady look about them. They've got beady eyes. Stone. Legends follow stones. I'm about 7 stone. I'm 112 years old. Clashing Games. 112 years young, I like to say. I'm a very young 112.
You're very young.
Yeah. I'm a very young. You know, don't eat deadly nightshade. That's some advice I have for you. Back when I used to play, oh yes they are, Fly Guy. They're constantly saving your life.
Yes, they're saving your life
by
right now.
Staying home.
Yes.
I'm 50 years old, to be honest. I'm not really 112. So the point I'm trying to make is, I don't know. I have no idea what point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to make any point. I'm trying to make a point about heroes. Fly Guy, listen. If it weren't for heroes like me staying home and making video reviews that you suggest to start a new channel for, annoyingly, then your life would probably be over by now. I wouldn't have saved it.
I mean...
How many times have I saved your life today by staying home? 5 or 6 times?
Yeah.
At least 5 or 6?
5 or 6 is definitely...
Thanks, Fly Guy. No, I don't want to start a new channel from ya. Okay? What is Talking with Famous People? It's a bunch of little Eric projects. That's what it is. Deal with it. Okay? Some of my projects are things you're going to like, and maybe are what you think the topic of this channel should be. And some of them are other things that Eric feels like doing, and it's just how it is, and it's just how it's going to be, and just everybody has to fucking deal with it.
Yes.
How do you like that? Or you can unsubscribe and stop watching me. Okay, thank you, Fly Guy. I appreciate your permission. I was waiting for it. I've been waiting all day for your permission. That's how you know you're doing things right. Most of the time in life, you're waiting for permission. Waiting for permission from somebody who's in a superior position to you. Then you're really living well. If you spend the vast majority of your time waiting for permission to do things. Why don't I see Lady Lou and you do? Is she? Oh, there she is. I do see her. You love that. Same here. It's a fascinating plant to grow. Are you talking about deadly nightshade? Are you aware that the reason deadly nightshade is called deadly nightshade is not because it's good for keeping you alive? In fact, it'll kill you if you eat it. Don't eat deadly nightshade. I learned that way back in... what was it called? Ultima 1 or Ultima 2 on the Apple IIe. One of the things that you had to learn is don't eat the deadly nightshade. Don't eat the deadly nightshade. If you do, you will die. I learned that on the Apple IIe computer, playing one of the early Ultimas, which featured deadly nightshade, and called it such. It wasn't ever called nightshade. It was always called deadly nightshade. That's how you learn about herbs in nature in the early 80s. Is you play Ultima on the Apple IIe computer. It was action packed. It'd be like this little green thing. I moved 4 spaces. Simply touching it and eating it, and eating something with your hands will make you sick. Rule of thumb, if the deer don't eat it, eat the deer. Really? Simply touching something and then eating something with unwashed hands thereafter is sufficient to make you sick if you've got deadly nightshade?
Deadly nightshade?
I have grown male cannabis plants before, but of course, you only grow them until you realize they're male and then you kill them. Because otherwise... that is not true, Legends Paul. Although I wish it were. Anything that kills you when ingested orally doubles your life force when ingested boofwardly. Boofwardly is a fantastic word. It's my favorite new adjective. Adverb, I mean.
Me too.
Boofwardly.
Boofwardly.
I was also fond of puttedness, which somebody pointed out in a comment the other day as a state of being for something. When you put something someplace, it attains the state of puttedness.
Oh.
So, for example, once you've ingested something boofwardly, it attains a state of puttedness within your colon. You know, that's such a necessary... Boofwardly, like, you know, to if you take a pill with your mouth and swallow it into your stomach, that's just the regular way of taking a pill. But if you push it up your butthole, the pill, that's called boofing it. That's called boofing your medication. And the reason people boof their medication is because there's another way you can accomplish the same outcome as boofing without boofing, which is if you drink a bunch of grapefruit juice before you take certain medications, then you'll if you don't do that and you take a pill, more than half of the medicine and most medicines is destroyed by your stomach acid. And so they dose the pills accordingly, right? Like, if I got a 15 milligram Adderall pill, they know that my stomach acid is going to destroy about half of that 15 milligrams worth of speed. So I can avoid that process and get kind of functionally twice as strong of pills, either by administering the pills boofwardly or by drinking grapefruit juice for a bit before I drink a big glass of grapefruit juice and then wait a few minutes before I take the pill, because the grapefruit juice eliminates the thing that gets rid of the medicine in your system. Of course, another possible way that's what I mean by putting this, okay? A woman ate 29 bananas after fasting for 7 days, and this is what happened to her body. What? She loved it? She loved all 29 bananas?
She came up with the song Apples and Bananas.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that Rachel's name, Rachel Apollosa, goes into the song. Yeah, it's $50 for a session. PayPal me. I'll email you. I've already got one of the people who PayPal me. I emailed them, and maybe they've emailed me back. I haven't checked my email since then. But yeah, $50 a session. Oh, the answer to the test is that what I'm really looking for is, I would expect most people, or a fair number of people, to put together some sort of fall with Christmas lights. The thing I was actually looking for to see if somebody's an INTJ is to then say, but that doesn't really make any physics sense. You know, like, in other words, no matter how you imagine falling from your own house anyway, off of a ladder, putting up Christmas lights, there's not really any way to fall into a basement window on your own house that is at ground level like this or not. So what I'm looking for the INTJ is some solvency to that reality. So in that regard, it's kind of a trick question. In other words, what's suggested is the intuitive response, is the expected start response, and to see if people object to the lack of TE legitimacy is what I'm looking for. The person who gave the most INTJ-ish answer, as far as I was concerned, that I saw among the early answers, was Jonathan Basanti, who suggested an L-shaped house. When I envisioned it, I actually envisioned it as the neighbor's house, okay? And that either there's a fence here, and it falls backwards like this, causing it to angle directly into the basement of the neighbor's house, or if there's no fence, then it could slide on the ice like this down into the neighbor's basement, which in conjunction with the side of this house would make it the right angle for the person to slide all the way down into the basement. Well, that's a very any kind of response, Nicola Hristov. To say that 30 seconds later doesn't necessarily mean the same day. Well, yes, it does. 30 seconds after the original thing means 30 seconds after the original thing. So, yes, it does mean that. So, that was kind of nice, actually, that Jonathan Basanti was the first person who really got where I was going with it, I guess. Because I typed him as INTJ, actually. Now, I will note, and what I perceive to be an INFJ probably response that seems to be aware of it, in the answer because it has the person like sledding on a ladder and accidentally going into a basement like that, which at least makes more sort of TE sense than falling off of the ladder. Well, it's interesting. I thought various things I could include beforehand as clues to try to cue things in. I maybe would have done it a little bit differently. I mean, at least it makes physics sense, right? That it would fall, could go into the window like that and you could end up in there. So, you came up with the ladder had been inside the basement because Jenny wanted to sneak the Christmas presents she had just shopped for into the basement, single story, etc. That's a good answer too. And that also avoids the... In other words, most people said she's putting up Christmas lights, the ladder fell, and she fell into the basement window. Even though that doesn't really make any sense, right? It did say the ladder was outside. That's true. Yeah, it did say that. Are INFJs really that rare? Well, it's not that rare, especially for them to get typed by me. But in terms of in the world, I would say, yeah, they're pretty rare. I don't encounter them very often. I mean... It's funny. Rachel and I'll go around and sometimes I'll see somebody who's got really textbook INFJ looks, and even if like sometimes it'll even be like a little kid or something. I'll say that kid looks like a little INFJ or something like that. But I don't actually type these people, so I don't know. And I don't find myself saying that very often. When I spot somebody who I think looks a lot like an INFJ, I'll usually mention that. So, and it doesn't happen very often. Oh, LCS, you win the Technicality Award. Elise, I mean, why do I always call you Elsie? Elise F wins the Technicality Award. It did not say the ladder was outside. It said she was outside. Oh yeah, why is there broken glass on the floor though? Right. Is ESTP really just caveman settings? No. It's ridiculous. If anybody's close to caveman settings, it's ESFP. It's because they're really like, me want, yeah. ESTPs are constrained by both the need for things to be defensible, logically, by a dislike of hypocrisy, right? In general, the more communicative things are, the more civilized things link to. And so, because the tool and third slot function of ESTP are TI, defensibility and communication, and FE, not looking bad or looking like a hypocrite, as a consequence, they're much more self-aware in some regard than ESFPs in general. Not that self-awareness is necessarily a good thing. You could also call self-awareness neuroticism. I mean, the one thing that ESTPs and ENTPs have in common is this concurrent both display and reality of brash confidence and childlike fragility. The thing is, we're not always aware that we're projecting the latter of the two, but we are to people who are aware themselves. So ESFPs, in contrast, they project a softer kind of brashness, really. And they're more... It's very easy to engage with an ESFP if you engage with them emotionally. The reason I have so much trouble engaging with ESFPs is that I refuse to do so constantly. Like, you remember how Cloud kept asking things like, do you hate me? Do you like me? He's projecting his operational value onto me and assuming that I'm making my decisions based on how I feel about him. And ignoring everything I'm saying to him about how I'm making my decisions, which is with TI, right? And then look at the one thing I finally said to him that got through to him. When I finally said to him, "You're making my experience unpleasant," all of a sudden, he heard me. You know, it's like attentional manners and what they tell us about people. It's kind of amazing when it comes to what ends up working. You know, what ends up working. It's like I told Clashing Games earlier. If he had said to me, "Eric, you're being rude," or if he had said to me, "Eric, you hurt my feelings," those are absolute values to me. The F functions. And those work on me. Those strategies work against me. If you tell me I'm mad, and that's why, then you're basically shitting on the real truth of the matter, which is the only strength I have is that I'm not driven by my feelings. And so it's like, that's just patently untrue, right? So it violates my operational values. Everybody should care about what makes sense and is logical. And it violates my sense of NI because the statement in and of itself is untrue. So it violates my operational value and my fifth slot absolute value for the external world, so it pisses me off. Whereas if he says, "Eric, you're rude and you hurt my feelings," I give in like a soft as a pancake. I know, you got a good point there, Plug. I am such a passionate, angry man.
Yeah.
That's where all these bruises come from. And like when the camera's not on, it's just, "Shut up, bitch!" I'm just beaten all over the place.
I have a mask on right now.
Of course not, Yo-Yo. Of course I'm not driven by my feelings. I experience them and express them, like anybody does. But, as you can see, my feelings are reactions to things. They're not... Like, okay, why did we live stream tonight? That was a feelings-based decision, in some sense. Because I missed the community, I missed engaging in this way. That was genuinely determined by my feelings.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to live stream for days, but it took me till today to actually act upon that feeling. But what I'm saying, my words that I'm saying now and throughout the stream, those are not feelings-based decisions. In other words, when I'm making claims about things being true or false, or when I'm making claims about things making sense or not making sense, my attachment is to a truth external to the meaning of those statements. And that in that regard, I am not subject to my feelings. I'm not attached to any particular interpretation. I'm attached to always having the most correct interpretation. Did I know there are people that say that YouTube works in your favor if you live stream at fixed times? I did not know that. It doesn't surprise me, and it won't impact my behavior. And this is another way in which we can see that I'm not very interests driven. Even though it might be in my interests to live stream at the same time, my relationship with my feelings is more childlike than that. In other words, but I want to do what I want to do now. Because I'm polar FI. And so that means I'm pretty self-indulgent. I have a hard time following through on things because I'm not sure what's really more important. I've got so many possible things that I'd like to do and think are important that it's hard for me to tell what's more important. And I can only tell really what's the most logical thing to say. I know that. I know what's the most correct thing to say, so that's the sort of thing I end up saying. That's what I sort of end up focusing on, you know? I'm absolutely... I don't... Because my FI decides where and what I'm doing so much, it never decides the content of those where and what I'm doing. Is another way of putting it. You could accuse me of being completely at the mercy of my FI in a larger sense, but never at the mercy of my FI in a local sense, except very, very rarely. No, I mean, I agree with you, Yo-Yo. There's countless number of things I could do to improve my standing here on YouTube. I'm trying, sort of, to improve, and it's sort of working. I noticed that we went from 7.15 to 7.16 the other day.
That's great.
That was nice.
That is nice.
The thing is, for the last 7 years or so that I've been doing this regularly, it's always been, and it probably always will be, first and foremost, my outlet for my need to express myself a lot. I didn't get the green screen, Yo-Yo. A viewer, a beloved and long-time and dedicated viewer, Winston's mom, just mailed it to me. It just arrived in the mail for me one day. I didn't ask for it. I didn't purchase it. I didn't get it. I didn't even use it much right away. It's only recently that I typically use it in every video. For a long time, I would say I used it in a sense that I hung it up, but it was just the green screen behind me. It wasn't. I didn't use it like this, like I have something projected on it. So, but this is part of my effort to try to be a little bit more interest based, is to be more consistent about using the green screen, and to make shorter videos when I upload videos. Short videos tend to do better. Try to be, just try to be a little bit more attentive to things that make you more popular, rather than things that make you less popular. Because I have historically done plenty of things that make you less popular, and hence my lack of popularity. Well, Yo-Yo, you see, now we're getting into dangerous territory. You're talking about Type Police. Obviously, if we were to make a lot of Type Police episodes, that would be a way for me to become much more successful. A good chunk of my current subscriber base came from just Type Police videos. So, the likelihood of me actually doing that is accordingly low. High likelihood positive impact means low likelihood Eric actually does it. I've learned this. I wish it were otherwise, and I'm trying to make it otherwise a little bit. But remember this basic seesaw here, okay? High likelihood of making Eric successful sits on this end. Making Eric successful sits on this end. Likelihood to do it sits on this end. When this is up here, this is down here. And when this is up here, this is down here. It's a shame. I don't know why it is that way. Well, I do know why. It's because of my cognitive functions. That's why. Blame it on the moon, blame it on love, blame it on San Francisco, blame it on anything you want. But at the end of the day, I'm me, and that's okay. Because Rachel's Rachel, and that's also okay.
Thanks.
Those are words to live by. Words of wisdom, words of truth. Words once said by Grandma Ruth. If you're hungry for delicious food, why not try a delicious McDouble from McDonald's?
Wondering if there were pickles on that one. Or you might be getting a soda? Yo, yo. He's Pickle Rick!
Sorry, my dear, but it's the last beer, and since you've got cooking and drinking myself.
That sounds good to me.
My phone made a noise. Sometimes my phone makes noises. It's like it's got a life of its own. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
Come at me with IQ. Okay. Supposed to say some big words? Come at me with IQ is a weird statement. I'm not really sure what it means either. Okay, Fly Guy, let's not lie. Cucumbers are overrated.
Let's talk about why.
Because pickles are like raisins and plums. Once they become pickles, they're no longer the fruit they originally were. Now contrast this with apricots. You dry out an apricot, what do you got?
Dried apricot.
What happens if you dry out a pear? You got a dried.
Pear.
What happens if you dry out a pineapple? You got dried.
Pineapple.
Well, what if you dry out a grape? You get a.
Raisin.
And if you dry out a plum, you get a.
Prune.
And if you pickle a cucumber, you get a.
A pickle.
Right. Sass explains it there for you. Cucumbers are the jicama of salad foods. It's not a compliment, okay? Cucumbers are the jicama of salad foods.
Jicama of salad.
But then you pick out of your salad. What are the things you pick out of your salad? Cherry tomatoes and cucumbers, obviously. Nobody wants either of those things in their salads. But they put them there just as filler because they just got them. They found some in the street or something. Okay, at least S needs to replace the word best with worst. Make them it taste like nothing. It tastes like fibrous nothing. Why would you want to eat fibrous nothing? Do you have cystic fibrosis? Is that why you like to eat fibrous nothings? You know what they said back in the olden days about jicama? They said, jicama schmickama.
Jicama schmickama.
Yeah, that's what they said. You know why they said that? Because that's about as much sense as jicama makes. It just tastes like fibrous nothing. You enjoy drinking water. What kind of guy are you? A water lover? Come on now. Nobody drinks water. Nobody walks in LA and nobody drinks water unless they're totally meh. Okay? Water drinker. Can you believe these people?
Where do they come from?
Drinking water, eating jicama. Jicama is like water you can eat.
Yeah, with fibers in them, though, because you're right about the fibrous parts.
Elise may have a bit of a point here. You know what? Elise may have just prompted me to do something tonight. Within this stream, we go to the weed store and we get weed afterwards. What do you think about us getting some boxes of instant oatmeal?
That's great.
Different flavors. I think that sounds good.
That does sound good. The different flavors?
Yeah, the different flavors, you know?
Oh, what a nice night for that.
Last night I smelled you make a bowl of cream of wheat, I think. And it was good. I mean, maybe not now that you've warned me? This is a pre-recorded live stream. Yeah. All like, I don't. You may not remember it, but you wrote that earlier and sent it ahead for me to check out ahead of time. I mean, I usually do. I answer the phone when people call me. Sometimes they call me for no reason at all, and they like somebody tried to prank call me the other day.
Yes.
It's like, how do you prank call Eric? You can't really.
It really didn't work. Well,
Like, hi, is this Eric? Yeah. What? And then they hang up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, want to pull a card? And then they started laughing and hung up.
Thing is, probably don't call right now because here's why, Yo-Yo. This live stream's rapidly coming to an end. I'm gonna smoke another cigarette. You got the non-instant oatmeal that you have to flavor yourself? Well, that was your mistake right there, Carrot.
Carrot, that is...
That's just... Well, I'm saying, Yo-Yo, that I'm not ready to start a conversation, really, because I'm wrapping this up. So, it's not really very good timing.
Non-instant is healthy, especially steel cut oats. I have heard that they're really healthy.
And I point out that you made the mistake of asking permission. You forgot the golden rule. It's always easier to seek forgiveness than permission. You know, when somebody asks me permission for something, I want to deny it just so they learn the lesson that it's dumb to ask permission for things. I have a phone. Why can't you call it? I mean, you know, it's like, why would you need to ask me permission to call me? The real question is, do you have anything worth saying? And the answer is, based on many previous callers, usually no, but sometimes yes. That's the SE rule. I agree. That's an SE rule. Oh, well. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to disturb me because if I don't feel like answering the phone, I just don't answer it. You know? I assume that that's my burden, right? If I let somebody else irritate me by calling me, that's my fault. I should do something about that. Yeah, I will credit the SE people for that rule. I like it a lot. Easier to seek forgiveness and permission. I'm in favor of it, but I will say this. Don't try it on an ESTJ. Do not try it on ESTJs. ESTJs do not agree with that principle that it's easier to seek forgiveness than permission. And it's hard to get forgiveness if you didn't get permission. So, it doesn't work on ESTJs, but in general, I agree with that principle. Bob Fair requested a song. Okay, I'll play a song or two. I'll play a song or two before we go to the weed store. What type would ask for permission? INFJ, ISFJ. Both of those two types would ask for permission. Rachel sometimes asks me for permission for things. I'm like, are you asking me permission or something?
I can't help it. I would ask you permission all the time.
It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow. Nobody yet to show. Place the slabs below and let them go. They will start to grow. More years ensue. Tears gnashing through. Holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true and eternally new. So when the slope appears in charge today, options at large show other ways. Give each a chance now. Once quickly check, but don't get caught standing on deck. The slope presents a fork. It's not easy stopping short. Too far along to turn around. Perhaps the better course was headed ever north. Now there's a fitter force, enemy ground. It was 100,000 million years ago. Time ran slow. Nobody had to show. Place the slabs below. Let them go. They will start to grow. More years ensue. Tears gnashing through. Oh, holy slabs come to view. Unchangingly true and eternally new. But when the slope appears in charge today, options at large show other ways. Give each a chance now. Once quick to check, but don't get caught standing on deck. The slope presents a fork. It's not easy stopping short. Too far along to turn around. Perhaps the better course was headed ever north. Now there's a fitter force, enemy ground. It was 100,000 million years ago. That was pretty good. I messed up a little bit, but not too much. Pretty good for somebody who's not on amphetamines. I'm on no amphetamines right now, so you're gonna have to excuse the lack of gack, you might say. Please excuse the lack of gack. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them. But every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them. And so he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them. And then the bridge brings a new approach. Sneakily he'll try to encroach up on the guilty, then perhaps he'll find his way to yell at them. He's Gregory in disguise, and in his pockets now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, and in his pockets now he's walking down the drive, averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them. Gregory. What's the chord progression? It's D minor A, D minor A, D minor A, B flat, F, D minor C, F, B flat, D minor C, F, A, and then the bridge goes B flat, F, D minor C, B flat, F, A, B flat, G, A. That's how it goes. Okay. I know, I like it when Rachel joins in that song too, and the one before. Although she doesn't, I don't think she does it on stream really, but also this one, I really like her joining on this one, but she's not here right now. I think she went to maybe do the laundry. I'm not sure where she went. She could have gone to the bathroom. She's just not here right now. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Someone buy us some more time. Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I got something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving. Those who stay awake all night, and mostly voices say to give in. They'll try to sap your will to fight. Let's come over here. And maybe I'm supposed to be here, or is it some forgotten noise? It's sort of based on what I see here, and also on what I avoid. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. There's to say. Sometimes it feels really nice to play the guitar, even when I'm not on amphetamines. It feels so satisfying sometimes.
That means
You know?
it's like something natural.
Yeah, it feels so comfortable, you know. Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. And there are times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches an end when the road disappears. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Or will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel filled up with bones. And that satchel now nothing but home. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 Well, I kind of messed up in a couple of spots, but it was okay.
I think so.
I'm just gonna play one more song, and then we're gonna go to the weed store and to the oatmeal store
And to the oatmeal store.
because we've been inspired to get some oatmeal.
Yes. What a good idea.
There's your problem. Looks like we found the problem.
Oh, we found a problem, huh?
Well, it's gonna cost $800 for the parts. I figure $600 for labor, plus a $300 convenience tax.
Convenience tax.
Well, yeah, we don't normally work on Wednesdays. Okay. Last song. When I was younger, it seemed that everything gleamed. I don't know what happened to me, but I've lost that sense of urgency, and I don't think that I'll ever see it again. If you follow my lead, you'll discover I'm loster than you, and you'll want to know the way to get back out to wherever it was you thought you knew. And tomorrow will be just like today. I'll be lost in two. It's a matter of mood as much as a matter of will. And the things I do and the direction I point to still seem a part of me, though departedly. And I wonder, can I ever seen them again? Bum-ba-dee-da, ba-dee-da-dee-doo, ba-ba-dee-da-da-da-doo. Bum-ba-dee-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-doo-dee-doo. Thank you, darling. I'm sure I'm missing some joke here, but just to clarify, this guitar is missing the high E string, so that's why you kind of lacks a little bit of top end. But I don't really miss it, you know. It doesn't seem to really impact my ability to successfully play songs.
That's good.
I don't know. I just haven't bothered to replace it because I don't really miss it. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for our stream tonight. And I want to thank you all very much for being here.
Yes, thank you very much for being here.
And I want to thank Clashing Games for putting up with my rudeness. And I'm sorry for being so rude. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be that rude. I shouldn't be rude like that. There's no reason to. I was just in a pow-powy kind of
it's gonna happen.
Sometimes I get a little pow-powy.
Yeah.
You know? In that regard, I guess I'm at the mercy of my moods, kind of. Like, how rudely I tell you you're wrong, that is determined by my mood. But whether I tell you whether you're wrong or not, that's not determined by my mood. Mm-hmm. Would you say that's fair? I say that's fair.
That is fair.
Alright, peace out, everybody. And don't forget to rock and roll. You can do both at the same time, it's fine.
Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.
Also, it's hugely important to remember that as well, of course, yes.